What is going on YouTube? Charter Benny here, and I want to welcome you to 100 Days Beating Ragnarok using only herbivores. Now from the last 100 Days challenge, I learned my lesson. Because I'm going to be honest, I spent a lot of that time kind of just sitting around, waiting. So I have increased the day cycle speed just by a little bit, but almost all of the stats are the same. Meaning this one is going to be a little bit more fast-paced. I have to get things done much faster in order to have time to fight yet another double boss fight. And using inspiration from Juztify, I'd like you to meet Doug and Greg, the two bosses of this map. Now, when it comes to picking the dino to use in the fight, I'm going to run with Theres, and yes, I know. What a typical dino that everyone uses. But this is mainly because we're doing this fight on Alpha. There's not really any other herbivore that would be able to take that kind of beating and output good damage. So the goals for this video are 1. Beat up Doug and Greg on Alpha. 2. I need to build an actual base, can't just live in a cave. 3. Actually reach level 105, because I didn't do that in the last video. Now remember, these take a very long time to make and edit, so leaving a like and subscribing would really help me out. Lets me know I'm doing something right. So buckle your seatbelts, this is going to be one hell of a ride. Let's go. We spawn in on day 1. Scratch the hologram thing on our wrists as we prepare ourselves, both mentally and physically. And I start by immediately gathering some infinity stones. And beefing with Professor Birch. Craft ourselves up a pickaxe. Gather some more wood. And then absolutely obliterate Dwayne The Rock Johnson for a second time. And make myself a hatchet. Gather some fiber and get some useful tools from these random boxes on the beach. Craft up a foundation for a temporary fob. Make a storage box. Delete a tiny degenerate. Beat up Gym Leader Brock. Get some more wood, and then make a sacrifice to the art gods. Get some metal and flint from the river rocks after we make ourselves a mortar and pestle. Craft up a forge to smelt the metal. Make ourselves some cloth armor so we are no longer naked. Make ourselves a smithy and get some metal tools. Craft a bola and a club because there was a nearby parasaur that would be a perfect starter team. I trap that man and then proceed to beat the ever-living shit out of him until he becomes unconscious. I shoved some berries down his throat. He was almost dead. And after a bit, our differences were settled and we were best friends now. Then murdered some innocent bystanders for their hide. Made a campfire for food. Also made our new friend a saddle. Harvested some berries. And then we named him Perry. Upgraded our stone hatchet to metal. Crafted a few stone foundations. Gave Perry an anime girl costume. Then we packed everything up and moved to our temporary cave spot. Did find some crystal on the way. Of course, we had to harvest that. And on day 3, we finally made it inside. We placed down our foundations as well as our crafting stations. Smelted up some more metal. Got some nice stuff from this purple drop. Murdered a toxic degenerate for his chitin. However, this little asshole of a Dilo decided it was going to be his lunch instead. So I dispatched him. And we made our way up a little hill to some metal spawns. Harvested them up. And then we went back home, put the metal in the forge. Upgraded our storage capacity. And then we went up to the snow for some crystal and oil. And on the way back, we watched a wolf get deleted. Once we went back home, I dropped off the materials and made some spark powder. Also made an awesome spyglass because, well, it's awesome. And then got into quite the scrap with the locals. And then this thieving heathen decided to steal my arrows. He got deleted. Dumbass! Chop down a Dilo. And then finish up the scorpion this whole tussle was for in the first place. Made some cementing paste back home and crafted a fabricator. Then I dove into the oceans for some silica pearls, making sure to avoid any carnivorous maniacs that wanted to swallow me. Placed some oil and hide into the forge to make some gasoline. Made up some electronics for a generator and some lamps. Placed everything down and fired up the generator. And hooked up some wires so that it will actually work. Let a bunch of meat spoil and made some questionable substances. Then made some arrows. And laced them with NyQuil. I got knocked off of parry by a tiny flying degenerate. Whistled parry passive so he didn't run too far down the beach. And we were about to tame a trike, but then this overgrown turkey decided parry was lunch. But Parry had other plans. So I skinned the bird. Then I launched some NyQuil lace arrows into this max level trike. And while doing so, this heathen decided to steal right out of my pocket. So I sent him to the Shadow Realm. I continued reading this trike some bedtime stories. And after a while, she was unconscious, which apparently this god tier RG was offended by, and this thing had 35 points into melee, pre-tame. If only I was doing a Carnivores challenge. Now I knew Perry wasn't going to be able to take this one, so I ran. And once I played Ring Around the Rosie a couple times and got some distance, taking a couple hits while doing so, I put Perry back in his Pokeball so that he was safe, and I was able to lose aggro behind a rock. I shoved some purple berries down the trike's throat. and then deleted a spitting degenerate. I then decided to get revenge on the RG and launched 376 arrows into her face hole. And then I knocked out this other high-level male trike nearby. And after brainwashing, taming the female, I gave the male some of the berries, deleted another thief, and after a while, the male trike was tamed. Made a bed back at base so I could respawn if something bad happens, and logged off for the day. Once I logged back on, I repaired my crossbow, set out, and I narrowly dodged a heathen.
I'm coming for you!
And I dealt with him while Perry was getting his ankles chewed. Bullet a flying rat. And sent that Pego to the Shadow Realm. Then realized that you cannot bullet galleys. And that you can't use a primitive crossbow to knock them out because they'll die. So I just took my L.
Bye, have a great time.
Harvest his body, and I went up the mountain only to find some raptors that wanted to eat Perry for breakfast.
Oh no!
Some of them got distracted, but Perry nearly lost his life to a level 20.
Oh my god, I almost died! No. I almost died, that was so scary!
So I put him back in his Pokeball, and then found him a girlfriend on the beach. So I launched some night-night arrows into her face, and then proceeded to delete wave after wave of degenerates. Fed Perry's girlfriend some purple berries, and while fighting more ankle biters, she was tamed. Put her in her Pokeball, got her back and named her Perita. Named the male Trike Wazowski, and I named the female Sarah. I let the couples do their business. Got an egg from each of them. Hatched them up. And I named the new baby Parasaur Lightning the Queen, even though no matter how much I leveled her into movement speed, she was still very slow. I named the Trike Sarah Jr. Hatched up another Trike egg, and Spike was born. I took Trike Wazowski out for a berry run, crafted up some melatonin and a long neck, as well as some bedtime story laced bullets. Got locked and loaded and set out to go tame something because days were going by fast and I needed to speed this up. Found this high-level tech stego and proceeded to try to convince him to take a nap. However, once he finally fell asleep, there was a raptor literally eating him from the inside out. I dispatched the raptor, disappointed, went back home, crafted up some gunpowder as well as some more bullets, laced those bullets with NyQuil, and got ourselves a much needed armor upgrade. I raided a beaver's home, Got some very overpowered stuff from this red drop. Now, I did turn up the loot quality from supply drops. However, I realized it was too OP, making things way too goddamn expensive. I do turn it down eventually, so yeah. For now, none of those will be used. I then got jump scared by an aloe on the way home.
I can smell you.
Ran around them and knocked out this low-level Anki. Got a rifle from a supply drop that I will never use. Brought the Anki back home and went on a flit run with him. And laid down a bunch of forges to upgrade my metal smelting capabilities. Crafted up some more bullets and laced them with NyQuil. And then attempted to knock out a Doedicurus and failed miserably. Ragnarok killed his inferior. I repaired my long neck and made up some more trank darts. Bullet a saber-toothed degenerate. Got a very nice sword out of a supply drop. Made it back home and decided to log off for the night. Now, once coming back on, I made even more trank darts and decided it was time to move. Now, I just left those forges smelting some wood so they could have charcoal when I got back. And I did decide to knock out this tech parasaur because it would be a infinite metal and electronics farm as well as oil. And then all of the trikes killed a Carno. We got our crafting station placed at our new base location. Trike Wazowski deleted a Rex, and I tamed this low-level Doedicurus. Which, despite the low level, was also really good at crafting stone. I would have given you a building montage, however, the base was literally just a box, so I'll spare you the details there. We then knocked out this pretty high-level stego. And while we were waiting for him to tame, we went on a metal run. And crafted up some more foundations and some door frames so we could trap and tame a Therizinosaur, which are the dinos that we will be using for the boss fight. Now, I spotted this level 95. I shot the dart into him, and then both of them started running after me. And not gonna lie, he was real close there. So we unloaded about 47 trank arrows into his face. And finally, he was out. We then killed the other one and shoved some berries down our female Thery's throat. And after some convincing, she was tamed. And yes, the female Thery is named Edward. We then spotted this 130 galley and decided to cure his insomnia and make him our friend. And then to kill the flying degenerate, and more vultures decided to come and try to eat me. After a while, the galley was tamed, and we named him Syntac, after one of my favorite YouTubers in the world. Had enough of the bullshit for the day, and we logged off, and then came back on, and we needed some organic polymer, so I decided to make a trip over near the volcano and harvest some mantises. This one just got deleted, so free organic poly, I guess. Then got in a tussle with a couple more, and figured that was enough poly, so we went back and made ourselves a chainsaw. Then an unfortunate thing happened. While I was out doing some mammoth taming, my PC crashed, and I probably lost about 3 or 4 days of footage, like in-game days. So yeah, I actually tamed up 2 mammoths, and we really didn't lose too much time. Like I said, it was only 3 or 4 days. But anyway, we potted up the mammoth and headed back home. Made sure we tamed a breeding pair of those. Yeah, it was just kind of unfortunate, and then it does happen again later on, but I only lose like not even a day. And once we make it back home, we throw out both the mammoths. And I had the hardest time trying to figure out which button it was to harvest the wood, because I have never tamed a mammoth before. Actually, I haven't tamed a mammoth ever since their TLC. I do eventually figure that out, and we get quite a bit of wood. We then crafted up some materials for our new base. This one is going to be pretty basic. I will give you guys a little bit of a building montage for this one. And we do change base locations twice, but this one is going to stick around for a while, I promise. Middle of the building montage, I decided to go to Triple Waterfall to go and get some crystal, but I spotted this higher level Dode and decided to tame him. So we had to get rid of all the threats nearby. And then up here, I made a very dumb mistake and kind of slipped off of the waterfall. And the only way out was down. So yeah, I perished. We got our stuff back, thankfully, without any trouble. Then once we got back up, the Dode was tamed. And now we can continue with the building montage. And just like that, our new base was done. I was pretty happy with this one. Decided to trank out another tech parasaur that was nearby. Launched a Pokeball at him. Threw some gas in the generator once we had everything transferred over. Deleted a horned degenerate. Placed down some behemoth gates for protection. Made our way over to the desert, and I noticed this little jerboa, which is a herbivore, so we can tame it. I knocked him out, fed him some berries, and he was now my friend. I named him Benny Jr. We also spotted this high-level Anki, and I kind of debated on knocking him out, but eventually turned back and decided to launch trank arrows into his face. Fed him some berries, and then decided to go out of render so that he would tame without being hurt. We made ourselves a 1x1 so that I could log off for a little bit.
I am gonna f you up beyond repair.
Yeah, we went back to check on him, and a couple of thorny dragons decided they wanted a snack. So, yet another L. Went back home, disappointed again. However, we crafted an indie forge so that we could smelt metal at 20 times the rate, as well as an industrial grill so we can make food much faster. Then went on another hunt for Theory, found a very nice level 145. Launched an arrow into him, and then I did not make the trap high enough, so...
Oh shit, not good.
Yeah, I ran. He then started attacking Syntac, so I quickly hopped onto him and ran. We then rebuilt the trap, make sure it was too high this time.
I have you now.
And tranked him out until he was unconscious.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Yeah, I forgot to put the back end up too high, and yeah. But eventually we do get him knocked out. And feed her some berries. Get her tamed, put her in a Pokeball. I brought her home. We got her home, and looking at her stats, they weren't great. We do end up also knocking out a low-level male, making sure all walls were too high this time. We then make ourselves a chemistry bench, as well as a pump shotgun. Now I do add the upgrade station mod. I kind of figured I would do this instead of looking for blueprints, because trying to find blueprints was real tough. Anyways, we make our way into the carnivorous caverns to search for the first artifact. Eventually we do get there. This one is really easy to get. It's not too far into the cave. We then make our way to one of the other entrances to carnivorous caverns, which is really close to a second artifact. We then eventually find our grapple point. Now you need grapples to get to this artifact. We walked around the sleeping megalosaurs and grabbed the artifact of the cunning. Crafted up an air conditioner back home so that we could hatch eggs. Imprinted a baby Theory and named her Cave Runner. We also got a new breeder male, which had all the same stats as a female, so it works perfect. Then upgraded our long neck rifle. And then, now I figure I probably should explain something. With the upgrade station, I'm not planning on just going straight to Ascendant. I'm making sure it's about every 20 days I can upgrade to the next tier. Like, notice how I started off with Apprentice, and then I upgraded to Journeyman after we hit day 40. Just kind of like that. I don't make it super overpowered. We also upgraded our shotgun and a Theory saddle. Gave that Theory saddle to Cave Runner. Then we hashed up a couple more female breeders. Went into the Ice Queen cave, found a very good long neck blueprint. And we descended down into the cave heading towards the Ice Queen's lair. Now, there is a trick with seeing any upcoming death worms. You can K-mode into the ground and you can see their little tails poking out. Just like that one there. So we threw out Cave Runner and then deleted the ice worm. Found a very, very nice chainsaw out of a cave drop. And then we have now made it to the Ice Queen's lair. Now you can't take any tames down there, but there is a certain spot where you can actually throw them out and use them. So we drop all the way down the waterfall. Throw out Cave Runner. And here she comes. Now with the Ice Queen defeated, it was time to collect our loot. We grabbed our Ice Queen trophy, ran to the back of the room. Now this room is so cool. It literally has a half-dead Giga waiting to be fed to the Ice Queen's babies. But we collect our artifact and head back home. This room is so cool. Honestly, best little detail out of any Ark map ever made. Well, we made it back home, put our trophy up on a mount, made a bunch of sleeping bags because there is a cave coming up that I am dreading, absolutely dreading. Anyway, we make our raft because we're about to go for one of the easier artifacts, assuming there's no Tusos in the area. Anyway, you want to dive down where I'm diving down, around 47.4, 2.3, and the artifact is literally just straight down. Now this area here is known as the Tuso Trench. You want to be very careful. As you saw, there was an Alpha Tuso not too far away. Now the artifact is on the other side of these shipwreckages. There it is. And there we have the artifact of the Devourer. Once we get back, we place some Megalodon teeth that we collected and our artifact into the chest. Craft up some grapples and make our way to the jungle cave. This cave is also pretty straightforward. It's fairly easy. There is some loot drops inside, and it's mainly just filled with Dilos, spiders, Arthros, all that. But we made our way through to the artifact, and we collected the artifact of the Hunter. This one, you really just want to be careful of falling into lava. So bring a lot of grapples. We made it back home. Dropped our artifact off. And just kind of contemplated on what to do because I didn't feel I was ready for the puzzle cave yet. So the next day we got on and prepared ourselves. I made a tombstone, which we can get our stuff back after we die without having to go and get it. It's a very nice mod, nice and handy. We craft up a harpoon launcher and then proceed to murder a bunch of sauropods for their spines. They are a tribute that we do need. And then I remembered the artifact of the strong is actually in a little tiny cave here. And this one is super easy. You just walk through, break some rocks, and there it is. we put away some RG talents, some Spinosails, Sarco skin, as well as some Bassy blubber that we did end up getting. And we put away our stuff and prepare ourselves for absolute pain. I was dreading this cave so much. We put away our galley, place down a box. We enter the code, which is Grata with a little special A is the first one. I'm not going to show too much of this cave. That's because at this point everybody's done it. Everybody knows how big of a pain in the ass it is. But through this section you want to stay prone, and then I proceed to push the button that opens the door on the right. Which is the door puzzle. Which is very annoying also. But there's just some parkour, and on the bottom of the pit that the parkour is above, we find a sniper rifle, which is very nice. And you gotta be real careful because there are a lot of traps in these that do spawn bats and a lot of other dangerous things. Bats can give you mega rabies, which can kill you pretty quickly. But I'm gonna leave this door puzzle in so you guys can follow along if you need to. This puzzle is also the same kind of in ASA. There's an extra button on ASE that you have to hit. But you can see we skipped that door. We'll come back to that one. Then you want to press the button on the left. And then the middle button here. And then the button on the left again. And then that one opens up to this room. You'll want to push both of these buttons. And then once you push this button on the back, you want to make a run for it. Because it is on a timer, and the door will close. You need to stay open. Now, I'm sure there's a different route than what I took. I'm sure some of you guys know it, but either way, we make it through our first door. And then we're still running all the way back. And push a button that you can barely even see. This is with Gamma 4, by the way. And then that door that we skipped, we're gonna go through. Push that button there. And then the button on the left. And then this time the button on the right, and you want to push the middle button here. Then you run one on all the way down, and then I thought I missed it because on ASA that's literally what you do. You have to push those buttons and then your door is open and it's on a timer. But we actually press that button and we're able to go through. And then we drop down here, and this is basically it. The artifact is just down the stairway. Up next we go into this very dark room. And you gotta remember to bring a sacrifice. I did end up dying and having to go back and throw a sacrifice in. But then this leads to kind of, I don't want to call it a mini-boss, because they're not quite, I guess it kind of technically is. But you want to kill one of the megalosauruses, however you say that. And then you'll kill all the spirit animals, and then you'll be rewarded with 2 artifacts out the back. And then we have the parkour section, which I couldn't remember. I thought it was going to be like ASA, where you kind of are able to fall to your death. Luckily, in this one, you don't. And it's actually pretty damn easy. You gotta kind of time it right with the spikes. They do take quite a chunk of your health, but it's not too bad. We actually got a pretty nice Anki settle out of that drop. And I'm just kind of leaving this in so that you guys can kind of see and watch what I'm doing so that you guys know too. So this is the easy part of the cave. The doors is just annoying. And we can skip that one on the left and then jump up, and then the artifact is also just down the stairway on the left. And there it is, Artifact of the Skylord. Now that was the final artifact, and we do end up killing ourselves to spawn back at the entrance, grab our stuff, and then we head back home. Now we did have all of the artifacts on day 49. So the rest of the time was mainly just getting tributes and breeding the Theries. And you can see I had a pretty epic fail there, but I do also pretty epically save it too. We finally made it back home. And we decided to collect some more of the tributes, and I will just kind of show little pieces of me collecting all of them so you guys don't have to suffer through all of that. Here we get another slice of Bassy blubber. And we got some Sarco skins as well. Went back to base. Named a baby Theory Tuso killer, even though we don't use him to kill Tusos. We got some Argy Talons, some Megalaniatoxin, more Spinosails, Thylaclaws, and Tuso Tentacles. Now I did leave all 4 of the Tusos that I killed in, just because I feel like I would need to. Yeah, once you get within about 300 meters, you can kind of shoot the Tusos from the surface, and it makes it a lot easier. Now, I know in real life you wouldn't be able to shoot at a giant squid from that far because the bullet just wouldn't go through the water like that. But then we killed our final Bassy for the last 2 Bassy blubber that we needed. And now we finally had all of the tributes and all of the artifacts. And this was on day 59. We then decided to head back on home, put everything away, double check to make sure we actually had everything, which we did in fact have everything. Then we pulled out some female breeders so that we can have a health and a melee line. You can see we did have a couple with health mutations already. And then we crafted up all of the Theory saddles that we would need for the boss fight. We're taking 20 in total, and we already had a few crafted, so needed about 17. Then we slaughtered some tech parasaurs and got some pretty funny corpse, I don't even know what to call this, stretches freakouts. I don't know. We chainsawed them up for the materials. Then we had a melee mutation finally. We slowly upgraded all of our saddles. This also did take a lot of materials, so I feel it actually was kind of fair. Then we started prefabbing for another base. A much bigger base. So I'm gonna let you guys enjoy another building montage. Hope you guys enjoy. And this one is kind of long. The base is massive. So it's about 10 minutes or so, but I think you guys will like it. You can try to follow along if you're building your own, but anyways, enjoy. And just like that, our base was done. This took me a real long time, and we are now on day 73. So yeah, it took me quite a while. We got everything back using a chain of storage boxes along with the transfer tool. Made sure we threw out all of our tames. Got the breeding lines all set up. We were ready to just continue breeding. Now, I'm going to spare you guys details, like I said, of doing the whole breeding thing. And I'll bring you back when all the mutations are done. Alright, so unfortunately, luck was not on my side, and we ended up only getting 35 points in the melee and 38 points in the health on day 90, which at this point I have to combine the stats, raise that male up, and then get 20 of the combined stats. And it was now day 92, and we had almost all of the theories raised up and about ready to start leveling. We still had a few adolescents in there. But with imprint, they came out to 9k health and almost 400 melee. So I think this is definitely doable, but I'm definitely nervous about the fight. But we do have all the saddles we need. We're just gonna take all the best ones we have. The dragon is what I'm most worried about because it does deal a percentage-based attack. And yeah. The Manticore I'm not super worried about so long as the theories actually don't get knocked out. And I did actually get stuck here and tried very hard to get out. But like I said, I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about the fight. Because the dragon has a percentage-based damage, and the Manticore deals a lot of torpor. So, gonna finish getting these guys raised up. We do have a lot of eggs to slaughter some newborns for levels. And these guys are almost raised up. And we don't have a lot of time, so hopefully we can get her done. But we'll catch you back once we're ready to go. Alright, once the theories were all raised up, it was time to level them, and we did that by slaughtering children. They were taking a very long time to heal. I was kind of worried that they wouldn't be healed in time. But we had them all leveled around 23k health, and I think they finished around 2300 melee, and there you can see where I got all the eggs from. Tuso Killer's in the middle of that, and he was the one male in that group. And we wanted to upgrade the rest of the saddles, the ones that didn't really come out very good, and that takes metal, so we built a platform for our forge. So we finished upgrading the rest of the saddles. Just show you a couple there. Made some shotgun ammo because it's pretty vital in this fight because the Manticore does not like to land. We grabbed up all of the artifacts and tributes. And we're getting ready to set out towards Blue Obelisk. Kind of took a look around, make sure we didn't forget anything, and then headed on our way. We loaded everything into the obelisk, and it was just a matter of waiting for the theories to heal the rest of the way. I have a feeling this fight is gonna be close. Okay, so I ended up losing the footage for the original boss fight, but here we are, still on day 100. My PC crashed right after we came out, and we did end up winning. You can see I have the Dragon and Manticore flag there, but you guys deserve a fight, so I spawned in the artifacts and tributes, and we're gonna do it again. So, enjoy. Get him! Yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Alright, now this time I'm gonna stop the recording when we come out and then start it again. Just in case. And just barely after midnight on day 101, Doug and Greg have been defeated. Now we did do this boss fight twice, so we'll call that challenge complete. And the first time around we actually didn't get any of the element or anything from it. I think it's because I was too far away, so the AoE I guess didn't bring them in. But it's done. Challenge complete. We got our trophies. went through all the bags, make sure we got everything. And me and Cave Runner headed back home. Now this challenge was... It started off really bad. I didn't think I was gonna have nearly enough time with how things were going, but eventually, in the end, it worked out. So, yeah, this has been one hell of a ride. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely had fun with this, while it was frustrating at times. You know, with PC crashes and just Ark being Ark. This was definitely my favorite challenge so far, even though I've only done 2. Don't get me wrong, I love the Spinos challenge too, but that one felt way too easy, and this one actually felt like it had a challenge to it. When we got home, we mounted up our trophies, placed our flags. Made ourselves some trophy mounts so that we could mount Doug and Greg's heads to the wall. Now, let me know what else you guys would want to see. You know I'm a new and very new content creator. The channel's been here for a while, but this is the first time I'm actually consistently doing projects. I would love to do another 100 Days challenge. Or even just a survival series on something. But let me know what you guys want to see. I'm willing to do almost any challenge. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up this video. Again, I really hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Like I said, lets me know I'm doing something right. But I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.